Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Burger Report, your number one choice for news, politics, and American-made goods. I, of course, am your big-headed host, Dave Steppenwolf, and today we're getting into a little more Trump news. Going to have to do with his possible coup. I know a lot of was it Michael Flynn and some of his top lawyers talking about Trump needs to stage a coup or enact military law to stay in power. So we're going to get into the possible reasons as to why that is a good idea. So, if you like what you see, like and subscribe. Share this video. If you don't like what you see, you can ABC your way out of here. I know it was corny. No apologies. Anyways, what are we talking about today? So, I'm going to show you some videos, or maybe one video and some images, have some discussions as to why Trump's coup, or him staying in power, enacting military law, not conceding, it's good for America. I know it's hard to say. You're going to be like, oh no, what about democracy? Look, we don't live in a fucking democracy. We live in a constitutional republic for good reason. There's a way he can overturn all this election, whatever's going on. And it's for the better, because look at Biden's cabinet. I think he put like a big oil guy in his environmental advisory board. That's not what I'm talking about. But that's not everything is not good for business. Well, I'm looking to the future here. I got kids. You know, I got my fucking skin in the game. Let's go. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to read a video and play it at the same time because it's in Mandarin, which is what they speak in China, by a gentleman named Dr. Li Yi, a Chinese sociologist. Okay, so you can find this on YouTube. Let me do some switcheroo in here. Let's do this one over here. This guy right here. And turn my thing down here. Alright, hopefully this works out. This is behind the scenes. This is highly technical. Chinese sociologist Dr. Li Yi.
Turns
out that China is going to overtake the United States in 2027. It was said that it might be delayed for a year or two, but this year, God has pulled off a little trick, right? Right? Everybody see that, right? You know, the God they're probably talking about, government is God in China. Communist Chinese Party, what are you going to do? I paused it, by the way. God created COVID-19 and spread it to every country in the world. The COVID-19 pandemic is like a test for all the countries in the world. And this test is biased, though. COVID-19 is bad for Europe and America. We shall see. but it's beneficial to North Korea. That's why North Korea is number one in the global fight against the pandemic. North Korea, number one. And China is number two. Gotcha. North Korea has 0 cases, or 0 infections, right? 0 infections. That's what he's saying. Numbers out of North Korea. Should we believe North Korea? I don't fucking know. So this is our system. I'm sorry, I'm so loud. So this system can do it. Our system is good, but not as good as North Korea's. So they're talking about extreme governmental oppression. Is that the system that they're comparing not as good as North Korea's? Okay. But we still have 4,000 dead, right? But 4,000 died Chinese and 4,000 died in China and 220,000 U.S. We haven't really lost a single person, have we? And as you can hear, he's laughing. We're close to 0 infections, 0 deaths. 4,000 out of 1.4 billion people died. That's the same as no one getting sick and no one dying. I'm not buying what you're selling there, Chief. But he's laughing about it like, hey, no big deal. Ha 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 ha. The global economy in China stands out. We're ahead of schedule in terms of overtaking the United States. There will be no problem reaching this goal in 2027. The U.S. will not survive. Oh. This is posted less than a month ago. No. We're in December. Okay, it was about almost 2 months ago. Now let me say again, almost none of the 1.4 billion Chinese people realize this. It's not the U.S. that's screwing with China. We are the ones driving America to its death. Oh, China. Behave. Don't hold back. Tell me how you really feel.
是我们把美国逼得活不下去了。
Because we're going to overtake the U.S. in 2027 in terms of GDP. Okay, that seems fair. Doesn't seem too threatening. I mean, obviously not fair. You want to continue our trade. If you do this with this, if we go with this PPP in terms of real purchasing power, we have already surpassed the United States in 2014. Yeah. Our economy went up, training went up, and so did the military. Yes, the military did indeed go up. We have struggled for more than a decade. In 2012, we achieved absolute superiority of the U.S. and Japan in the Taiwan Strait, but not in the world. We have gained absolute superiority of the U.S. military in the Bohai Sea, the Yellow Sea, and the Taiwan Strait. So they're talking about all the South China Sea where they're just flaunting their stuff. They're constantly doing military exercises. Tauntingly. We are expanding our military at a rate of unprecedented in human history. That's probably not good. We've been launching fleets equivalent to the French Navy every year for several years. One French naval tonnage per year. I'm assuming that's some kind of French ship. We'll continue to launch the equivalent of French Navy for every year for the last decade. For at least the next decade. Excuse me. In economy, military, trade, and diplomacy, all the international organizations we have joined. We are fighting for a leadership position. Do you see? In the past, the U.S. was definitely the head of the appointed head, or the appointed head. Chinese people used to go there and say, "This is very good, very good." Now China says, "It's our turn." You see, challenging U.S. military hegemony, control, U.S. dollar hegemony, and challenging U.S. world trade hegemony. That's what they're working for. Except that we cannot challenge American technology and education. We do have some. We are now challenging all American hegemony, which would include technology and education. Education, I don't know about that. Technology, yes. As long as 1.4 billion Chinese people eat, sleep, defecate, and urinate every day. As long as we do, as long as we go to work every day, we will drive the U.S. to its death. Oh, okay. In any case, China's development cannot be resisted or stopped. As long as one thing doesn't happen. As long as China doesn't produce a Gorbachev, which refers to Russian government nonsense. I mean, yeah, the USSR going down, and during Stalin and Lenin, like 60 million people starved to death. Same thing under Mao Zedong in China, roughly 60 million people starved to death. Don't want communism, but hey, what are you gonna do? That would mess up in China's own internal affairs and cause China to disintegrate. And nobody would be able to resist this development. That's the answer to your question. So America is panicking right now. It's really panicking. This is why the two American parties, their government and military, their industrial, their public, their officials, and academics, and other American people, all walks of life, over 75% of the American people now hate China. They don't hate China. Hate the fuck government. They hate China so much they hope China collapses tomorrow. And the U.S. goes to hell because, excuse me. It goes to hell. Let me rewind that a little bit. It goes to hell because China has pushed the U.S. into a corner. Okay. The conflict is irreconcilable. My goodness, my reading is terrible. I graduated, okay? So, obviously tensions are pretty hostile there. Irreconcilable is a pretty fucking strong word. Anyways, in a few words, the reason why there won't be a war is because we have fought the war to resist U.S. aggression in Vietnam and Korea, whatever. A lot of people don't understand. In Vietnam and Korea, we pulled out because they were sending in Chinese troops. Look that up. These two wars have already been fought. Of course, we still have a war to fight. We have to take Taiwan, right? That's some dark shit. They don't recognize Taiwan as a country. They recognize it as their territory. You can look up like World Health Organization meetings where they were asked clearly about Taiwan, and the guy will be like, "What? I didn't understand you." The Chinese ambassador, representative, and they'll repeat the question, and he'll just pull his earpiece out. don't disrespect China. They do whatever the fuck they want.
哎，这个
I'll take it. We
我
don't
拿下来
dare.
拿不拿你
I say, I'll take it. You don't even dare to fight me, whether I take it or not. So I think they're referring to Taiwan. Won't fight back or probably get crushed.
所以你要打中国，
If you
那
want to
那
fight
中国
China,
毛泽东
China's 2 bombs and 1 satellite during Mao Zedong's era was
时代
were
两
ready
弹
for
已
you.
经早就是为你打中国准备的。你
Do you dare? There is no war between nuclear powers.
哪有核国家之间打战争的？
This is some pretty intense rhetoric. I mean, I know Trump gets out there with his shit, but I mean, I don't know. You must be kidding, right?
他能想到的办法
U.S. will dare not do anything.
多么的下三滥，
The U.S. will dare to do anything it thinks of, no matter how nasty. So they're painting a bad picture in the U.S.
他
What's
他
we
都
do with
敢
China?
干，
Whatever.
都会干，
Propaganda.
都要干，除了不打
With
仗
the。exception of war or severing diplomatic diplomacy. Okay, so that's the end of that video. Let's go back to my main screen here. All right. Get me done. So that doesn't bode well for the United States for our future. If we're overtaken by China as they're the #1 world power, what does that mean for us? We mean to be kicked down to #2? Maybe. But what seems to be the case, from my understanding, is we're also the backbone for the rest of the Western world. Our strong U.S. economy, our strong Western influence is holding up Australia, Canada, most of Europe. So if China were to overtake all that, I don't know if we would just drop down a notch. I think it would be pretty fucking devastating. And the way they might likely do that is just with Biden getting into power, reopening trade with China, or shipping jobs back overseas, all that I've covered before. Mandating a federal minimum wage, which drives jobs overseas again. All these constrictions because of the new green movement, all that stuff that just kills our economy. Stuff goes overseas because they don't have those restrictions in China and India. What are you gonna do? Okay, let's work on something else. Let's see what else we got. Let's go back to this guy. Let's look at what does China have to do? Let's look at the CNN article. Oh, why China will what the fuck, stupid ads. Why China will struggle to end organ harvesting from executed prisoners. A lot of people don't seem to understand that China has these concentration camps, these death camps, and they're filled with Uyghur Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, and Falun Gong, which is like a Taoist religion. They harvest your organs. Over 3 months, it's like over 100 camps spotted on satellites all across China, and some are prisoners and some are, they're just like there's extreme persecution based on religious beliefs. China does not like Christianity, for one. I don't know what their stance is on Islam, but they have all these people that are just total prisoners. And if somebody calls up, they need an organ, especially the Chinese Communist Party, those people are executed, organs harvested. As far as like the Uyghur Muslims and Falun Gong, their organs go for a higher price because they're very healthy in their practices of eating and exercise. They've been doing this. The Falun Gong have been persecuted and organ harvested since at least 20 years. Nobody's talking about this. This is Hitlerian stuff. This is Nazi Germany. This is extreme, and this is on a grander scale because we have the technology, and this is insane. Okay, and this falls back on what I'm talking about as far as Trump. Let's see. When we're looking at his pictures, yeah, this is terrible. You see, these guys are prisoners. Okay, let's go back to my other thing. This is why I think Trump stays in power. It's going to be rough here, but in the long run, we're going to avoid China overtaking us, and we're going to avoid potential civil war. I think there's going to be civil war regardless. We're so politically divided. But if our economy crashes, we have massive inflation. We've already had massive inflation this past year. According to reports, was it up 20% of money ever printed in the United States was printed within this last year? That's fucking insane. Those make those banker bailouts in 2008 look like garbage. This is crazy. We're going into some shit, and I think Trump needs to stay in power because we need a strong man. I'm just saying. When Biden, projectedly won the election, the Chinese dollar skyrocketed, all-time high. The yuan, look it up. What are you gonna do though? If Trump doesn't stay not in power, I'm gonna have to work this much harder to make some extra money and support my family. But there's my thoughts on that. Like and subscribe, follow me on Twitch, and I will see you tomorrow.